Did I talk too much? Should have handled that. Just let it go.
I wish I would stop.
Overthinking so much. Did I talk too much? I would stop. Overthinking. Let it go.
Take a breath. You're not alone. Let's talk about what's going on.
Counseling helps you sort through the noise with qualified professionals, and online therapy makes it convenient. See if it's for you. Visit BetterHelp.com/randompodcast for 10% off your first month of online therapy and let life feel better.
Most security systems react after a break-in begins. That's too late. Simply Safe is different. It's proactive. ActiveGuard Outdoor Protection uses AI-powered cameras to spot suspicious activity before criminals get inside. Live monitoring agents can see, speak to, and scare off intruders in real time, quickly calling police if needed. To get 60% off your new system, go to simplysafe.com/podcast. That's simplysafe.com/podcast for 60% off. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
Do you think you acted differently based on what you thought women were attracted to, Haim?
So I reckon growing up when I was a teenager and first interested in women, when I really didn't understand women at all, I was always jealous of my friends that had sisters.
Yeah.
I was like, if you've got a sister, you understand women. I only have one brother. I haven't got a clue what's going on.
Yeah.
So I would have said that women were looking for characteristics like bravery, strength, courage. They were things that were key to women and women's attention.
Yeah.
In short, you had to be a superhero. I had to be James Bond in order to win women's affections.
Yeah.
Is that what you were looking for in a man when you were growing up?
Well, yeah, all of those things. Back in the day, I just want somebody that was sort of quick-witted, kind, smart, the normal things, well-travelled, brave, stable, hung like a donkey.
Standard. How do you think that changed as you grew up and you started looking for a life partner rather than someone hot at a disco?
Well, I realised that I needed one thing out of that list, not donkey dick. No, really, I met my husband and he had no piercings, no tattoos, no addictions. So he was cool enough for me, and fast forward 17 years later, he's still that person. I'd been through a lot of losers and through experience realised that there's only one thing that was important to me, which was kindness.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting, as I do believe within this topic lingers a whiff of old-fashioned male-female roles. Men traditionally don't feel comfortable sharing how they feel because in the past they were not supposed to. Like alcohol, long-ingrained customs are hard to shift. So that's what we're talking about there with like showing you our perfect man. I had certain things that I wanted out of a man, and that's where men struggle, isn't it, Hamish? Because you're looking for something that he's brave and he's this and he's like James Bond and he's this superhero. Whereas in fact, we're not saying, well, actually, he's also a human and he's vulnerable and he has emotions and he gets scared. And well, maybe we need to drum that into society a bit more.
But when we're teenagers, I'll tell you what, kindness only gets you one thing, which is friend-zoned. It would seem girls wanted the bad boy, girls wanted the smoker and the drinker, and the guy was kind of a dick to them. Yeah. They seem to get all the girls. Kindness got you nowhere.
But that's something you learn over time, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's funny because that archaic mindset causes men to keep quiet when they should be talking. So we've established that men struggle to communicate on an emotional level that feels much easier to women. But the question remains, why?
I've tried to simplify this into 3 reasons.
Right.
Okay, so the first is that we're brought up to believe what a man truly is. Okay, phrases like "don't cry," "be a brave boy," "who's a brave soldier," that's something you say to a toddler or whatever.
Yeah,
they're repeated and you're rewarded for being brave.
Yeah,
probably differently to the way that you would parent a girl. You wouldn't say things like, be a brave soldier, maybe to a daughter.
Yes,
I'm not sure.
True. No, that's true.
And superheroes like Superman, Action Man, James Bond, those are who we grew up with loving because we're little children. None of those are emotional. When has James Bond or Superman ever had a difficult emotional day?
Breakdown,
so we idolise cartoon characters or superheroes that only have one emotion, which is bravery, courage, save people.
Well, I think that's interesting because what you're saying is like in the media and everywhere we look, we're portraying men as being strong and being the one that stands up, like my husband in that situation. We're portraying them as the solid structure in the relationship that keeps everything together. And actually that's a really toxic message, isn't it? It's actually not true. And we need to level out this sort of male-female emotional bridge so that we can all cross it and meet somewhere in the middle. So what's your second point?
Okay, so my second one is that this is a generational problem. So from my experience, my dad, who is my big role model, is not emotional at all. Okay, and I think that's not uncommon in that generation above us. So I remember him saying, I interviewed him for a podcast about his dad dying. He was very young when his dad died.
Right.
And I said, did you cry? And he said, no, I don't remember crying. And he said, you can be sad without crying, which struck me as bizarre. But yeah, it's a fair point. Not everyone cries when they're sad. And I remember thinking, yeah, this is a generational thing. I saw my dad cry once and I didn't even see it. So he was telling us that his mum had died, my granny. And the way he did it is he turned me and my brother away from him. And he was standing with his hands on our shoulders. And he told us the news. And I could hear him crying and I could see my brother crying. And I remember trying to not cry. I was 7.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, I'm not going to cry. Dad and my brother are crying. I'm not going to cry with this news. That was me being told my granny died.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a perfect example, isn't it, of like us hiding our emotions and turning away from them and saying, look, I'm a man, I'm not going to cry in front of people. The older generation thought therapy or psychology, I think, was a waste of time. My dad certainly, if I say I've been in therapy or I've got a psychiatrist session come up, he's like, waste of time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really that attitude of just pull yourself together.
It's
what's wrong with you?
It's talking about yourself.
It's almost like an army attitude, like a post-war attitude. It's like, come on, chin up, we're British, get on with it. Let's carry on, even though no matter what this has happened, let's get on with things.
And I guess that's because their parents were like that. It's not their fault, that's what they saw. And maybe we're the first generation to try and break that. And if we go too far the other way and we're super emotional, maybe that's what needs to happen in order to
level it out.
Yeah.
Well, I think that generation as well, they'd been through a lot and they had to pull it all together. And they didn't have the money that we have now, like my parents certainly didn't. They couldn't afford to have a psychiatrist or a therapist or somebody else step into their situation. They just had enough money to put a bit of lard on their bread in the morning. Like, it wasn't an easy life back then. So you couldn't spend money on frivolous things that we call now necessary things. Our parents didn't have. And also I remember growing up, if somebody had a mental health issue, it was always sort of neighbours nudging each other or whispering over the garden fence as they hung their washing on the line. It used to be something like Steve down the road has had a breakdown or Linda at number 23's gone loony. There was never a mention of, somebody is having mental health issues. It was just a judgment, they're mad, let's stay away, let them deal with it. I mean, I remember playing conkers with Linda down the road. She was a bit mad, but she was a good conker player. Yeah, so it's a generational thing here that we're talking about how men have dealt with their emotions over the last 100 years, let's say, and how that's changing now, and we're starting to understand how men have the same needs as women emotionally. Yeah.
And my third point, which is kind of the result of the first two, so a result of us being brought up to understand what a man is, and also the generational problem of our parents generally not being too emotional, is that this can create toxic masculinity. Publicly, we act in a way that we believe to be overly masculine. We drink beer, we discuss sport, we do not talk about our emotions, and this can leave you feeling really trapped. We'll do an episode about sport and about changing room culture. And also stag do's. The way that we act in these groups of men is not how we act when we're alone. It's just so alpha male, it's so toxic. Like I said earlier, it's very difficult to have conversations in that group unless you have got a sister or a friend who's a girl or a partner. There are people that I know who are blokes who are, that is a person I can call in that situation.
Yeah.
But I would say they are 1 in 15 of my friends.
I don't think many people have that male friend. Like many guys I know don't have that male friend, because often when you go out in a drinking situation, for example, you're with a group of people, it's that tribal mentality, you're watching the footy. There's no situation there where you can express yourself. Whereas generally, I know we're making a few sweeping statements in this podcast today, but we're trying to make a general assumption here that women...
Hey, I'm Paige DeSorbo, and I'm always thinking about underwear.
I'm Hannah Berner, and I'm also thinking about underwear, but I prefer full coverage. I like to call them my granny panties.
Actually, I never think about underwear. That's the magic of Tommy John.
Same. They're so light and so comfy, and if it's not comfortable, I'm not wearing it.
And the bras, soft, supportive, and actually breathable.
Yes, Lord knows the girls need to breathe. Also, I need my PJs to breathe and be buttery soft and stretchy enough for my dramatic tossing and turning at night. That's why I live in my Tommy John pajamas.
Plus, they're so cute because they fit perfectly.
Put yourself on to Tommy John.
Upgrade your drawer with Tommy John. Save 25% for a limited time at TommyJohn.com/comfort. See site for details.
You've worked hard to build your business. SimpliSafe helps you protect it. With SimpliSafe for Business, AI-powered cameras watch over your entry points and instantly alert live monitoring agents. They can deter intruders before they get inside. It's protection built for growing companies. 24/7 monitoring, no contracts, and a 60-day money-back guarantee. To get 60% off your new system, go to simplysafe.com/podcast. That's simplysafe.com/podcast for 60% off. There's no safe like SimpliSafe.
Yeah, we're more likely to sit down and have a cup of tea. We're more likely to go for a run on the beach or a walk together or sit and have a picnic over, an alcohol-free beer or whatever. And we're more generally going to be opening up about our emotions because that's how we connect on that level as mothers and as women and as people. We connect a lot easier. And for men, the situations that you bond in often can be quite chaotic, like a match or even just going to the pub with a few mates. And I think men find it difficult to create situations where you wouldn't phone someone up and just go, should we go for a pint just on our own? Well, not anymore, Hamish. You'd go for a fizzy water. But I think men would find it hard to phone up another guy and say, look, I'm not feeling great. Can we go for a drink and talk about this?
Well, I want to know what's strange is I have done that only masking it behind a podcast.
Okay.
So I've said, can I interview you for a podcast?
Yeah.
And in that space, you can talk for an hour. I've done about grief. Can I talk about your grief for an hour?
Yeah.
And I'm going to ask you lots of questions. You don't have to ask me any because this is about you.
Yeah.
And in that space, and it's going to be this long, it's going to be an episode, people are happy to share.
Yeah.
But doing that conversation in a pub or at someone's house,
Yeah.
I've very rarely managed to do.
So it's like giving up alcohol in a way. It's like you've got to create safe spaces for yourself as people. You've got to create places that you're comfortable in and that you can share what's really going on. Because we don't care about all the other bullshit, all the frivolous conversations about the weather and about all the other stuff. Those conversations, those deep conversations that you have with mates about your true feelings can be life-saving.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, so bottling up of emotions can often lead to an increase in consumption of alcohol.
And the effects of this can be deadly.
Alcohol is effectively used in 3 ways to medicate and cure the problem of pent-up emotions. Alcohol gets us to open up.
Alcohol is used to numb any emotions.
And using alcohol as a means of feeling connected. So what we're doing there with all of those things is actually drowning out what's going on, getting a few beers down our neck and pretending it's not okay, and then waking up the next morning with exactly the same problem, but with a hangover on top of it.
Just never addressing the issue.
Yeah, never addressing the issue, and then the ball keeps rolling and gathering speed, and that's when your mental health will start to spiral out of control. So it's so dangerous. So what really we wanted to do this podcast today because Hamish is here to give the male perspective on this. And it's just so fascinating to hear, Hamish, that, men do feel like this. And I do feel sort of responsible in some way. And I think as women as well, we can help by nudging you, not like we don't nag you enough, by poking you and saying, are you okay? And do you want to talk about something?
Yeah.
Because I think we can have that role as well. It doesn't have to be you talking to a male. It can be you talking to me or, anyone.
It's funny because actually talking to your partner can be the hardest person to speak to as well.
Yeah.
Because that's almost you'd want a wife or a partner to say, do you want to talk to someone about it that's not me? Talk to that friend of yours. Try and be the middle person to initiate that conversation could be equally helpful.
So true.
So how do we change the way that we approach discussions of this kind to encourage more men in particular to talk?
The Men's Line Australia website suggests a few ideas which I think are brilliant. New non-traditional ways of providing support. Hamish, I think you're going to tell us about One Wave.
Yeah, so One Wave is fantastic. It is a mental health group. They meet at the beach. I used to do it in Bondi, but beaches all over Australia do. Actually, all over the world, I think. And you meet up. Everyone wears fluoro because mental health is invisible. So we wear fluoro so everyone can see us.
Right.
And you sit in a circle and there'll be some sort of topic, but generally people are sharing their experiences of mental health in a really safe space. And then everyone will either go for a surf or do a yoga session, and then everyone goes for a coffee afterwards. And that idea of sitting in a circle with complete strangers and everyone's dressed up, I loved it. I actually found far more comfortable discussing this sort of stuff with a complete group of strangers than I did people that I knew or a therapist.
Because you're not going to be judged because they're there for the same reason.
Yeah.
Changing the messaging and language around this topic, for example, counsellors are changed to use a style that's based around communicating about goals and solutions rather than just talking about feelings. So we're saying they're more structured help. It can be you sitting with a mate, but also you can find someone who really knows how to pin down what is going on with you.
Yeah, and that use of language can be really effective. Providing support specifically for men communicate differently to women, obviously. There's plenty of arguments about that.
Yeah.
And implementing some really simple concepts, such as shoulder-to-shoulder conversations with minimal eye contact, have had a huge difference. I actually did not know that until I read this one.
So that is a fact.
Yeah, have a conversation side by side rather than let's sit opposite and talk about our emotions.
Yeah, that would
Men
work.
might feel uncomfortable having an eye-to-eye emotional talk, whereas side-to-side, like I said, one way if we're sitting in a circle, so that is shoulder-to-shoulder, makes a lot of sense.
Does make sense. That's interesting. So just asking the question, are you okay, in a quiet, safe space over a coffee or after a surf is really going to help. Check in with your mates. Sobriety helps with this. It allows deeper connections with people. And that's something that I've changed a lot with. As before, I had panic attacks and I was embarrassed to tell people about myself when I was in my early 20s. But as I got older, I educated myself about my mental health and understood that the only way that I was going to get better was to actually talk about it. And that's what I've done. And that's how I now know, even though I do wobble occasionally, I do know I'll be all right.
Yeah.
I won't let it get to the point where I'm feeling suicidal, for example, because I know the steps that I have to take, and that is to get somebody else to step in to help me.
Yeah. On that, actually, a friend of mine, Albie, always talks about asking, how are you today?
Yes.
Just saying, how are you adding today rather than how are you is such an easy way to make people actually tell you how they feel.
Brilliant. Yeah. How are you feeling like right now? Yeah. How are you actually feeling right now? Like really try and pin it down.
Yeah, the biggest lesson that I've learnt through all this, which I'd love to share, is that I was under the impression that my friends and family didn't want to hear me complaining about struggles in my life.
Yeah.
And they didn't want me to ruin their day by telling them about my heartbreak or any other problems. But the truth is this. By not sharing with them, I was inadvertently sending them the message that I don't want to hear their stories when they're in a similar position. And that is such a dangerous loop that keeps us from true connection.
That is a brilliant paragraph there, Hamish. That is so true. So by not talking about it, we're creating this sort of vicious cycle of being alone in our own heads and suffering.
Yeah. And also, I think feeling every emotion that there is to feel, it's awful at the time, but it's the best way to connect with someone. So that, you've got children. Imagine your 18-year-old son comes home and has gone through a breakup, and you can be like, I know, I know there's nothing I can say to make you feel better, but I was in your shoes 40 years ago and I get it.
Yeah.
It's such a beautiful way to connect with someone.
Yeah. And I think it's a shame nowadays too, like, we see everybody on Instagram, on Facebook and the highlights of our lives and how wonderful we are. But I do see a change happening where people are starting to share their troubles a bit more. You see the odd crying photo and people really putting it out there if they're in hospital or having mental health issues. And that helps, that stuff. It takes away the stigma for men particularly, that look, it's okay. We're all fucked up. We're all mental. One of our favourite sayings on this podcast, Hamish, is fucked up but trying to do better. And that's all we are. We're just humans and we're trying to do our best. Everybody knows life isn't perfect. So the more you're open about your fuck-uppery, the better. If someone you know is struggling mentally, you might not be able to see it. They will look okay, say, yeah, I'm fine, and seem to be getting on with life. When in fact they could be keeping their true feelings under wraps because they're embarrassed, scared, or don't want to burden you with their issues. Keep asking if you're worried. That one question means you care, and sometimes that one thing is enough.
And if it's you that's struggling, one of the best things you can do is to stop drowning it out with booze. Doing that won't solve a damn thing.
If you're questioning your relationship with booze, you're struggling to moderate, or your hangovers are causing anxiety, it might be time to reach out for some support.
Yeah, just talk to a mate about how you're feeling, contact a local doctor, find an AA or sobriety group. Vic's got one.
Yeah, just head to www.cuppa.community.
Remember, if you're questioning yourself, it might be time to seek support.
Even though this journey can be awkward, it is definitely worth it. And if you've enjoyed the Sober Awkward podcast, don't forget to review it, rate it, and share it with your mates.
Do they have to share it with their mates?
Yeah, of course they do. I'm not doing this for nothing, Hamish. Bloody hell.
How do they share it?
I don't know, just write it on the document.
Hey, I'm Paige DeSorbo, and I'm always thinking about underwear.
I'm Hannah Berner, and I'm also thinking about underwear, but I prefer full coverage. I like to call them my granny panties.
Actually, I never think about underwear. That's the magic of Tommy John.
Same. They're so light and so comfy, and if it's not comfortable, I'm not wearing it.
And the bras, soft, supportive, and actually breathable.
Yes, Lord knows the girls need to breathe. Also, I need my PJs to breathe and be buttery soft and stretchy enough for my dramatic tossing and turning at night. That's why I live in my Tommy John pajamas.
Plus, they're so cute because they fit perfectly.
Put yourself on to Tommy John.
Upgrade your drawer with Tommy John. Save 25% for a limited time at TommyJohn.com/comfort. See site for details.
Dear Career Ladder, you've had your moment. You're linear and one-dimensional. Ambition doesn't just go up anymore. It zigs and zags and squiggles. We're CEOs, executives, founders. We're advising companies, launching side hustles, taking breaks, defining our next act. Ambition on our terms, the possibilities are endless. Chief, lead on. Join us at chief.com.
You know, Hannah and I love a good bed rotting session, reality TV, snacks nearby, and now I've leveled up with my self-care game with this Shark Beauty Cryo Glow, the #1 skincare facial device in the U.S.
Wait, I'm obsessed with it. I've had it for a while, actually, and it's the only mask that combines high-energy LEDs, infrared, and under-eye cooling. I really need this because nothing wakes me up in the morning. You could do 4 treatments in one. Better aging, skin clearing, skin sustain, and my favorite, the Under Eye Revive with Insta-Chill Cold Tech. You put it on and it just feels so good under your eyes. Like I actually feel like I got 8 hours of sleep.
It's truly like a luxury spa moment while you're literally horizontal. It's perfect for post-workout, Sunday scaries, or when you just want to glow while rotting.
So treat yourself to the #1 LED beauty mask this holiday season. Go to sharkninja.com and use promo code Giggly Squad for 10% off your Cryo Glow. That's sharkninja.com and use promo code Giggly Squad for 10% off your Cryo Glow.
So, as you probably know, my comedy memoir, 1,000 Wasted Sundays, is officially out. All my magnificent fuck-uppery in one awkward hit. If you'd like to get your hands on a copy, it's now available from all good bookstores.
We always say all good bookstores, don't we?
Yeah.
Are there bad bookstores?
No, it's probably ones with moody sellers.
Oh yeah, really depressed librarian folk.
Yes.
Good.
So there are probably some, but we're only storing it in the good ones.
It's only made it into the goodies.
You can also get it from all good online retailers. The print version and ebook are out now, and the audiobook will be available in March. I've been writing my memoir for 5 years. It will make you laugh, cry and cringe, and hopefully inspire a few people to reconsider their relationship with booze. If you love the podcast, then I think you'll love the book, even if I do say so myself. Hamish has read it. What did you think?
I feel like I know a little bit too much about you now, to be honest, Vic. Look, I really loved it. It was hilarious and surprisingly moving, but I feel like I've seen you naked in a literary sense.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's worrying.
Yeah. From an emotional point of view, seriously, it wobbled my teeny weeny wooden heart, Vic.
Okay.
My teeny little wooden heart.
Well, his wooden heart is broken. Anyway, so if you do manage to get your filthy mitts on a copy, please do me a favour and head to goodreads.com and give me a review. Doing that will help me get it out there to those that need a bit of sober support. So there you have it. My story, unwanted warts and all. Come and get awkward with me.
Not to be too demanding or anything, but seriously, go and buy it now.
Yeah, go and buy it. Go and buy it right now.
Yeah, don't just tell your friends, buy it, and then buy your friends one or two.
Yeah, don't give them a copy, buy it. Yeah.
And you know what? Don't be careful where you store it. If you lose it, you can always buy another 5.
Buy another one.
Yeah.